What's going on, guys? I want to do a quick kind of overview video on these. These are Pvs15's. I just want to go into a couple thoughts and features on these and why you might want to get them as a night vision unit, or at least consider them as a night vision unit. So getting right into it, this is a set of Pvs15B's. This is L3's older legacy goggle style. They don't make parts for these anymore, so take that with a grain of salt. But getting right into it, we'll go over the Pvs15 and why you might consider these as an option for a night vision device. Okay, so getting right into it, like I said, these are Pvs15B's. These are kind of the middle child in terms of the Pvs15's life. Some of the housings came with a single hole dovetail, as you can see here on this set. They later switched in the later years to the Pvs15C housing with minor cosmetic changes and some other stuff, but the main thing was the single hole dovetail went away in favor of a 3-hole dovetail, so you had 3 screws on the dovetail. And they did that because one of the issues with the Pvs15 is that people were breaking the single hole dovetail and it was coming loose and rotating, and that's no good. You don't want that. So I will be upgrading my unit to a 15C housing just to completely eliminate that issue. As you can kind of see here, the dovetail is a little bit off. It's about 1 degree off facing this way. So I'm just trying to nip that in the bud and get that taken care of as soon as possible, just to prevent any further issues. Now, like I said, the Pvs15 is a legacy unit, so it's no longer being made, which is a big deal and kind of isn't. It all depends on parts and what you break. So for me, I'm not beating these things up aggressively. I'm wearing them pretty casually, if you will, and just kind of training with them. So for me, them being a legacy unit isn't a huge deal, but to you, that might be a big deal. The way I look at it is, I wanted to try these. I wanted to get into duals. I had a Pvs14 before. These are coming down in price. You're seeing them pop up all over the place. So availability right now is pretty high, with lots of these surfacing on the market. And that's one of the big things with night vision right now is availability. If you go on any of the major websites, you'll see that they are out 120, 180 days, just to get your unit in. I have a buddy that bought a set of Pvs15 1531s, the Pvs31 bodies that take the Pvs14 objectives and oculars. So not the Pvs31As that everybody's used to. They're kind of middle of the road Pvs31, if you will. They're variant of that. So he's been waiting for over 11 months now, and that's insane. I mean, you pay over $10,000 for a night vision unit and you don't have it after 11 months. That's crazy. So that's why Pvs15's might be an option for you. Is they're still amazing goggles. They still saw use all across the world. They're tested and they're proven. Unfortunately, they don't make parts, but hey, if you don't have to wait 11 months and you can get this in a week, and you get a good unit, that might be something to consider, is going on the used market, at least to hold you over until you can save up some more cash, sell your Pvs15 unit, and then go and get the Pvs31As or DTNVGs or DTNVSs. So don't come for me too hard in the comments about buying an old legacy, brick unit, which is another thing I want to talk about, which is weight. So I'll get the scale out so we can weigh these and kind of go over, how heavy these are, because a lot of people have some misconceptions about the Pvs15. Now, it's not a light unit by any means, but we'll get the scale out and weigh it. All right, so we got the scale out. We have it set up in grams for right now, and this is going to be the Pvs15 with your single AA battery, and then the battery caddy, which really doesn't add anything. So in terms of grams, you're sitting right about 648 grams, which factors into, let's see here, about 1 pound 6 ounces, almost 1 pound 7 ounces. Is that heavy? To some people, yes. A lot of people on the internet will say, oh, the Pvs15s are really heavy. They're not worth it. There's so many better things on the market, and that's all relative. For me, I don't really care about the weight. The weight doesn't really bother me. I run an OpsCore ballistic helmet with these, and yes, they are heavy. Yes, does it hurt after a while, but that's to be said with anything. Anything on your head that weighs any amount of weight is going to fatigue you after a while. So for me, not a real big issue. I just got over it. So Pvs15's definitely not the lightest thing, definitely not the heaviest thing. I mean, GPNVGs are definitely way heavier than this, but just keep that in mind that they do weigh a little over a pound if you're looking at purchasing these. So you're going to have to plan accordingly with counterweights and options on your helmet to kind of offset the weight of these things. Again, not super heavy, at least to me and my personal experience with them. So going from here, we'll go over some of the features on the goggle, kind of go over it and show you what everything does on it, and then we'll put some clips in of what it looks like on my OpsCore, and then that'll be the video. All right, moving on to some of the features of the Pvs15. On the front here, you obviously have your front two lenses, which just twist to focus. Nothing new there. You have your industry kind of standard Pvs14 on-off switch. Same deal with the Pvs14. You have your on setting, another on setting, and then you pull it out and twist it one more time, which will kick on your little infrared floodlight here. This is pretty neat because you have kind of two modes with it, if you will. You have this little cover that you can flip over it. Basically allows you to have a wide spill, or when you flip the cover over it, it tightens the beam up, and you'll get your little concentrated beam at like 5 or so yards. Is probably 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. I personally don't really use the onboard illuminator. I just use the Surefire on the S&S Precision Max mount that's on the side of my helmet if I need any sort of like IR flood or anything close up. And then obviously weapon mounted IR is going to be a big thing with these. On the side here, nothing crazy to point out, just standard side of your tube, side of your housing. On the top here, I do have a battery caddy mounted on here, which houses just one AA battery for me. I keep the battery that I use in this unit on the caddy, so it's always with the unit. So if it ever goes down or I switch it out, I always know that this battery goes with this unit, so I don't get AA's mixed up with other stuff or just waste batteries by putting a new one in it every single time. So that's why that guy's on there. It doesn't hinder any of the movement of the pods when you rotate them down. As you can see, when I rotate it up, the elastic kind of gives and it pushes it up off to the side, so no loss in articulation there. Which brings us to the back of the housing here. On the back is where your battery is going to go in. This is your battery compartment right here. They do give you a little tie down, which is nice. And then on the inside of the actual battery compartment, if you can see in there, they do give you a little diagram telling you which way the battery goes, which is nice because when you start running night vision, lasers, lights, optics, sometimes the batteries go in different ways, so there's really no industry standard of which way the battery should go. For me, luckily, I've kind of memorized that the Surefires always go positive side toward the head, the PEC positive back towards you, EOTech, same deal, it gives you a plus and minus, so nice little feature there. On the back here, again, you do have your rear ocular adjustments. How I like to focus my nods is get the image looking correct with the rear oculars, then move to a focus on the front lenses. For my focus, I generally just aim them up at the stars and make sure that they're clear, and that's going to be kind of an infinity focus for you. Anything closer up, you do have to use some sort of focus cover or put holes in your caps like I have for up close focus. Just kind of a quick little trick. If you take 556 brass and punch holes into like your rubber bikini covers, it'll give you an up close focus. And surprisingly with these, outside, putting these bikini covers over it with the holes punched in there really doesn't darken the image up as much as you'd think. It actually works out really well. Save you a couple bucks because I know those quick focus covers get very expensive. So moving from here, we'll kind of just do a little once over on the helmet and kind of show you how they look on an OpsCore ballistic. Alright, so this is what the Pvs15's kind of look like on my OpsCore here. I'm using a Wilcox L4G24. This is kind of the industry standard when it comes to mounting Pvs14 or dual tubes. So This is just the normal G24. They do make some with the extended arm here to give you more clearance in front of masks, eye pro, etc. So this is with the goggles pretty much filleted all the way open here. As you can see how tight they fit up against the helmet. A lot of people complain about not being able to see past the goggles if they didn't want to look through them with them opened all the way up. For me, I haven't found an issue in tilting my head up. People make it seem like you have to tilt your head up to the sky to be able to see underneath of them. The way I have them set up here is pretty neutral on the Wilcox here. As you can see, the little up and down adjustment is pretty much flush with the mount, so pretty much middle of the road. If you've ever used one of these, you know what I'm talking about. For me, I only have to tilt the helmet up maybe 1 or 2 degrees to see past the goggles. It's really not that big of a deal, but this is kind of what they look like on the helmet. I tend not to run them up just because it does start to pull the helmet down, so I usually just leave them down like this and fillet them all the way open, and then when I need them, obviously, I just grab them and pull them closed. So that's pretty much the Pvs15's, kind of a little quick overview of them, just because I haven't really seen too many videos going over the Pvs15's and giving you like an up close look and only talking about the Pvs15's and not really going off on different goggles and stuff. But like I said, they're a good goggle. They're becoming a lot more obtainable and a little bit cheaper, so definitely keep these in mind when looking for a dual tube setup. They're definitely really good, and you can get some pretty crazy spec tubes in these. Some White Foss L3 24 UA tubes have been popping up here and there for these, so definitely check these out. If you have any questions on them, let me know down below, and as always, thank you guys for watching.